Hello, and welcome to Hold the Pass, a podcast all about passing on knowledge among friends from every corner of the motorsport world. My name is Misha.
And my name is Fatima.
And our guest today is someone who I think the both of us have been so excited to talk to for some time now. She is a photographer who is incredibly multifaceted in her interests, from fashion to events and travel to motorsports. She has photographed Formula One, Formula E, Formula Winter races. She is also an advocate for diversity and representation of minorities in motorsports. Welcome to the show, Jordan Chapman.
Hi, thank you for having me. That was also one of the best intros I've ever had ever. So thank you so much, Misha.
Oh my God, I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you. Before we get into the actual episode, how are you? How has life been? What's going on?
Life is busy, but life is good. I got back from Berlin E3 last week, and that was crazy, but it was so much fun. Getting to see Nico Muller win his very first Formula E race was actually insane because honestly, no one was expecting it to happen. Everyone was expecting to see a Pascal Wehrlein win, but then Nico just came out of the woodworks, and I was in the perfect spot when he was on the podium to get not only the champagne shots, but also a really lovely one of him and his wife kissing as he picked up their son and took them on stage. It was really, really cute. So yeah, life is good.
Oh my God, that's incredible. That must have been so beautiful to just like see and then to get to capture and like share. That must have been amazing.
It was really, really nice. And I ended up sending the pictures to the Porsche team photographer and he sent them to Nico. So it got there eventually.
That's so sweet. I love that. Hopefully it gets framed.
Fingers crossed. That would be lovely.
Right? Wouldn't that be amazing?
I did make the photo down. So good. I was like, oh, hello. So yeah.
As you should. As you should.
Exactly. But no, aside from that, what's going on with you in the world of Jordan?
Oh, I think Formula E has taken over my life a little bit, but I'm actually working on relaunching Team Orders and doing more of the diversity and inclusion pieces because one of the things I want to do is just that. Because ultimately, I've recognized that there's really a lack of diversity when it comes to gender, race, sexual orientation, all of the things. And there's often these really siloed places that touch on everything. So there's things in STEM, there's things for girls, but then they're not intersectional. And I want something to be really intersectional with prioritizing and really just actually doing the right thing. Because ultimately, I think everyone talks about, we want more diverse voices in motorsport. But then we see this diverse persons are just white women, and that's not really diversity. That's just a piece of it. And so I want to really highlight and uplift as many voices as I can. And figuring out how to do that is really tricky because I feel like I'm stepping on people's toes as I do it. But then at the same time, I don't think there should only be one place that does it. There should be a million places that do this work.
I agree. And it's actually so funny that you say that because we had Tasia on our pod a couple of weeks ago, and she was kind of speaking on something similar in the sense of like, when we talk about diversity, especially like when it comes to diversity in women, it's always typically just white women. It's like, okay, but where's the rest? So I do think it's a very interesting space that we're in right now. And it actually kind of jumps into our first question for you, into just getting into the basics, I guess, of your career and to, I guess, the bones that laid out the foundation of what it is that you currently do. So, from fashion to politics to travel to sports and photography, what passion would you say came first and what gave you the drive to turn all of those passions, I guess, into a career that works?
That's hard. I started off in politics, which I think I've always loved photography. Like I did photography as a kid. I would always take photos at my little brother's soccer games. That's always the line I say. But then I did politics on the side, both in like volunteering and doing all the other things that people do on a day-to-day basis. But then when I graduated undergrad in 2019, I started working for campaigns more fully, more full-time. Did a lot of things, and I really recognized that there was an actual issue in terms of the far right pretty much before a lot of people did. Or people saw the writing on the wall, but people didn't know how to fix it. And so I went back and did my master's, which is why I'm in London half the time of the year. I did my master's in international conflict studies with a subset in right-wing extremism. So I wanted to really study why this is happening, what's making people tick, and how, I think at the time, my thought was, how do you consult with campaigns and help them understand how you talk to people? Because ultimately what I was seeing, especially on the left side, was people were just having trouble getting their point across and explaining to people without it taking 10 years. This is why certain people in power are a problem. This is why Trump is an issue. This is why blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't have to take a 10-year long monologue to explain that the economy doesn't suck just because immigrants are everywhere. It's like, that's not your issue. Your issue is actually the fact that you don't know how to explain to people what their pain points are and how to identify them succinctly. Long story short, doing the thing that I just was talking about, monologuing, I worked in policy for a little bit, and then I decided it wasn't for me. Okay. I love strategy, but I lost my job. It sucked, but it also gave me the push to do the photography stuff and to do 2 motors full time, because ultimately I had nothing but free time. And anybody who is watching this knows that this job market sucks. And so what I did was I took the free time, took all of my savings and invested into myself and into my photography career. And I also know that that's a very privileged position that I came from, because I was able to do that. I was making enough before the whole team got let go. And my partner is really, really lovely and also pays half of our bills. A little bit more now because still touch and go. But I was able to be in this really privileged position where I could chase my dreams. And I'm forever grateful for the privilege I've been able to kind of utilize to get there, because I know that most people don't have that opportunity to chase what they've wanted for a while. And it also was hard mentally for a while because I was not in the best of places. Yeah. And it's why I pretty much stopped making content for a while, because I was like, there's no way I can make money doing this. I'm not good enough. There's so many other amazing creators who are doing the thing, and I'm just here. Yeah. But then after working with a very great therapist and a very great career coach, they were like, you're really good at this. Just do it and go full send. And so that's what I started doing midway through last year, early this year. And it's massively improved everything.
That's awesome. I think what I'm learning from, I'm just seeing like parallels from like people we've spoken to. It's really like that push into just stepping into yourself and into confidence that you know that you can do this, and also just having a really good support system around you. I think that's something that a lot of people take for granted when it comes to putting yourself out there in the content space. And that support system will really, I think, make or break you when it comes to pursuing your passions. And I know that you kind of mentioned this already. You kind of already touched on our second question as well. So you've done something that I've been yapping to anyone about that I'm going to do, that I still need to do, which is make the move to the UK. And that is something that is still... I'm screaming, please.
Oh my God, that reaction. For anyone who is listening on audio, Jordan for anyone who's listening on audio, Jordan just like went wide-eyed, like no gesture.
Don't do it. Okay, well, convince me why I shouldn't.
I have loved my time here.
Okay.
And it's also really useful because you're in the intermediary between the US and Europe. And so I can go back and forth really easy. Those are the perks. Simultaneously, while doing my master's for cheap was a great idea, especially compared to the States, you make 10 times less. And a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck in a way that's not sustainable countrywide. It's why they're having a lot of the same issues in terms of the far right, in terms of reform, got elected a lot yesterday with local elections. Reform is like if MAGA was an actual
Hmm.
political party, for anybody who doesn't know. And I am appreciative of the time I've had here, but if I could go back and redo it, I would actually just go straight to Europe, because if you're going to be here, go get the passport.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And you can't do that and go to Europe here, because they've left the EU with Brexit. So if you're going to do it, go to France, go to Germany. Germany's free, if not cheap, in terms of student fees and tuitions, even if you're internationals. Go somewhere else. I love London, but also sometimes people are miserable.
Mm.
Mm, mm.
Okay.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
so
No, you
sorry.
got. I'm like, girl, you know you're in a cafe, right?
I have built this beautiful life, but everyone is
Mhm.
leaving. Everyone I know is leaving,
I see.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
including
something that
I'm also on the process of
I see. Where would you go?
getting
Of
out.
exiting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably I would move either back to the States, or I would
Okay.
move to mainland Europe. So my partner is German, so we could move to Germany, depending on their job. I speak French pretty much fluently, so I would also consider moving to France, and it would put me a lot closer to some of the teams I would want to work with. I
Hmm.
think if I moved back to the States, New York would be a great base, because I could go back and forth between here and the UK for any of the motorsport stuff pretty seamlessly.
Hmm.
And JFK is a great airport. I don't personally want to move to New York, because I just find it very overwhelming. But I also know that my partner's job is based out of New York, so it's a very strong option that we might have. You're getting the tea before a lot of people get the tea. Um,
We
and
appreciate
but it's definitely on the radar for the next
Hmm.
12 to 16 months.
it.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, there's always
It's
Toronto.
not to
Just
discourage
throwing
anyone.
it out there.
It's always Toronto. I am not discouraging anyone from coming to London. I say come, have the season, and leave.
Yeah.
Don't
Okay.
get stuck.
Okay. So like come
Yeah.
as a visitor.
Or come, like, if you're going to
Gotcha,
come and
gotcha,
get the
gotcha.
Masters, or come and do everything, do it. Have a great time. Enjoy the city, what all that it has to offer. But most people I know are not making, unless they're in certain industries like finance or anything like that, they're not
Hmm.
making it their full thing anymore, especially not in the creative spaces. Some people are, but not as many as I used to see. And I think it shows a lot in the creative industries, because Fashion Week is very different. I've been coming to London Fashion Week since when did I graduate high school? 2016. I'm dating myself. Uh,
Oh, don't
I've
worry.
been coming
Trust
since
me.
then.
Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry.
I'm
And
in the same boat.
it's very different.
Mm.
It's different. And I think you can see it in how people respect freelancers, and how I get respect as a freelance photographer now, because I feel like I'm having to almost beg for the things that are basic, or used to be basic, like usage fees is a very normal thing outside of the UK. It's very not
Mm.
normalized here. And that's very difficult to survive on.
Yeah, that sounds really, really. Honestly, it kind of breaks my heart, especially as like coming from a field that it's an art. Photography is an art. It feels like a lot of the arts are kind of getting left behind, so to speak. Um, but I know that for creative people, having that opportunity to be creative and to, get the support for your work is incredibly important. And that kind of leads us into the next question that we had for you, which was um, on your website, you write that photography is how you share your feelings with the world. It's your outlet. Um, so, as someone who is so passionate about so many things, can you talk a bit about how photography has helped you connect with all of your passions?
Ooh, yeah. I think even the politics stuff, I was able to use photography for that, because I went to the Women's March the first time it happened, and I took a lot of photos there. I don't actually know if I published them. I think I just have them in, like, they're just stuck somewhere. It was just really cool to translate the energy of what was happening into photography. And I think my anger and my frustration that was leading me to go to DC for that was
Hmm.
because I sat on a bus for 15 hours. And so I was tired, but I took that tired passion and put it into the photos. And I
Hmm.
think I do that with Fashion Week because I feel so, especially in Paris. I love Paris. It's my favorite city in the world. If I could move anywhere, I would move there probably. Um, I just take the energy and the creative bump that I have from Paris and put it into everything. I try new things, I try new angles. I feel that I lose all of the normal fear that I have in terms of not being a yapper. Because as a content creator, you kind of end up becoming a yapper because you
Yeah.
can't be in like antisocial situations. But I I'm very good at putting it on and then turning it off and going and being by myself for a few hours. But when I'm in like the fashion space, in the politics space, I love just how I feel in that moment. And it reflects in my work because I feel like my full self. And there's always pictures that you take that suck.
Mhm.
And you're like, oh, that was really, really bad. But then I never feel like I can't improve. The way I connect all of them is by just going full send and by not being afraid of trying new things and knowing that at the end of the day, all I'm doing is translating what I'm seeing into a piece of art. And when I feel good and I feel on, I can tell the immediate difference between my work. It's like night and day. Like my work in Berlin, when I was feeling the vibe and the energy and also the heat, because it was very, very warm. It was 27 degrees Celsius, which is 85 Fahrenheit, give or take. I've gotten really good at that conversion. Um, and I I can feel the difference in my work there versus my work in Madrid. Because my work in
Mhm.
Madrid, it was cold, it was rainy. I didn't want to go outside because I was like, I hate everything about this
Hmm.
weekend because it
Mhm.
sucks. And when I feel good, it shows. And I don't know if I just answered the question or if I just kind of talked around the point, but I think it just, yeah, I think when I resonate with the energy, it shows.
Hmm. And that makes a lot of sense, I think. Is there like a particular energy that you find yourself kind of being drawn towards?
When people are happy to be somewhere, I can feel that. And if people don't want to be there, especially in like fashion week stuff,
Mm.
Mhm.
or actually, I think it's all about reading people
Yeah.
because for both sides, the motorsport stuff. If one of the drivers and I'm on the grid is like, I don't want to be around you. I literally don't want this picture taken. I'm gonna go hide in the corner on the grid because I can't leave.
Yeah.
And I see them. I process what I'm looking at, and I just keep it pushing because I'm like, your energy does not it's not something I want to take a picture of.
Mhm.
It's not giving me anything.
Mhm.
And
Hmm.
so, and in Fashion Week, when people are stuck up, when people are not wanting to be there, but they're there because they're getting a check, I'm
Hmm.
good. I think it's something I've noticed in both spaces. I don't chase anybody. I
Good.
don't.
Agree.
The moment will come to me. I often position myself in places where I know I'll get the moment, but
Mhm.
it's very, very rare that I will actively pursue something to get the photo unless I know I need to do that.
Hmm. That makes a lot of
Because I don't want to
sense.
manufacture it. I don't want to
Yeah.
manufacture them when I want the moment to just be there.
Exactly. And I think it's the same for the audience. Like nobody wants to feel like the people that they're looking at are disinterested,
Yeah. And you can feel
right?
that
Like
energy right away too.
exactly, exactly. I know like as F1 fans, like, when a driver's had a bad race and you watch the interview, you're like, just leave him alone. Let him go like mourn his loss or his crash or whatever.
When
I
Um,
don't even
someone
want to watch the
crashes out,
interviews.
yeah,
yeah.
it's like, and they just look like they're crying, and you're like, I don't want to take a picture of that. I don't want this.
How do you
Yeah.
navigate that actually? Sorry. When you're in like those intense moments and like your job is to be the photographer.
I take it, and then I I take it, I might take like 2.
Okay.
Because I need to, for the agency that I work for, send them stuff like that, and they need those kind of moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it depends on what's happening.
Yeah.
If it's like an accident, but you know they're okay, that's a different ballgame, because you need to take the action photo and you take the shot, and then you send it off. And I never personally post any of those things. I think I have different boundaries and lines than some of the stuff I send agency wise, and like I use that to compartmentalize what I actually do versus what I like my photo stuff, and then my agency work I compartmentalize them completely, because I know on the one side like this is utilized to make money, and that's not my ball game, but then the other stuff is me personally, and I think they're very separate.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really wise way of going about it, because obviously, like, you know, your agency is one thing, but you as a photographer, as an artist, are a different thing. And I don't know if it's something that a lot of newer people might necessarily think about it when they're starting out in photography. So I wanted to ask you, if, let's say, you're talking to somebody who is an F1 fan, or even just like a sports fan, or a fan of anything, starting out in photography, or if there's somebody who just enjoys taking pictures with, let's say, like their phone, and wants to try their hand at more serious photography, what is something that you would recommend to that person?
Everyone always recommends going to like just going and shooting. That's always the advice everyone gets. And while that is great advice, and absolutely take that, I think if I'm going to give someone one piece of advice, it's going to be listen to others, talk to the people who are there. Because for the most part, you'll see photographers, if you go to like a smaller race, like say I went to, I don't know, Brands Hatch. Like I wouldn't do this at like Silverstone on an F1 weekend, because that's a different scenario. But if I go to a small Formula E race, or a WEC race, or Brands Hatch, an IndyCar race, something. IndyCar is not smaller technically, but you get the gist of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So just talk to someone. Most photographers are actually pretty lovely, and there's always going to be people who are not. But go talk to them and just say like, "Hi, my name is Jordan, and I really want to do your job one day. What would you recommend? Like, can you talk to me about your cameras that you use? Can you tell me about how you framing things?" Or like, don't be afraid to ask questions and talk to them. Sometimes if they're busy, like read the moment, obviously. If they're busy, don't do it. But if it's between a session, or if it's during a red flag or something like that, where you know that they're kind of waiting for the cars to come around, ask the question. Most people are willing to talk. And don't feel the pressure to upgrade all of your kit at once. And don't feel the pressure to keep up with the Joneses, because you don't need a $13,000 Canon RF 400 millimeter prime 2.8 lens to make magic. I don't actually carry a 400 with me most Formula E weekends. I mostly will have my 24 to 70, and then I will have a 7-200. I don't carry a lot of other lenses with me. If I was doing other things, maybe. But I don't. The tracks we work at, you don't necessarily need them all the time. If you want it, great. I don't need it. If I'm not spending the money on it right now. So don't cave to the pressure to just upgrade, because you want to have top line kit. Go buy the resale off of eBay. I buy half of my stuff off of eBay. And it serves me perfectly fine if you treat it well.
Yeah,
that's
true. And that actually answers kind of the follow-up that I wanted to ask you, which is, what would you tell somebody not to do?
Literally.
Yeah. Don't feel pressure to do it, because honestly, you'll drive yourself insane and you're going to get into debt, and you don't want to do that.
No, in this economy?
True. I think a lot of people who are starting off are just so eager to purchase all the good the high tech things. I'm not a tech person or a photographer, so I literally don't know what I'm talking about, but they're always eager to buy that. I mean, I know I am. I remember when we first started our pod, or when I first started doing this, I bought like the most expensive mics. Did I use that for like the first year? No. It was like, I just had it sitting there, but like, it's just one of those things. And I think that's really great advice to give someone who's starting off. And you're right. Use eBay, use Facebook Marketplace, reduce, reuse, recycle, as they say, you know, it's there for a reason.
You find great stuff off the resale. And I have another thing. This is a quick one. Follow the rules and respect the marshals. Because the thing that you don't want to be known for, people talk, paddocks, motorsport, especially if you're in a paddock and you are the person who's known for breaking the rules, getting told off by the organizers, that stuff spreads across every single paddock in the world. You don't want to be known as the person who breaks the rules or disrespects marshals, especially if you're early in your career. Follow the advice. You don't, like when I say keep your head down and like stay under the radar, I don't mean like don't introduce yourself to people. I mean, don't be the person who's getting told off every weekend, and don't push the boundaries to a point where you get blacklisted, which I have seen happen, and you don't want to be that person.
That's scary. That's good advice as well too, because listen, from what my understanding is, this industry is a very small industry, and it doesn't matter what country you're in.
Tiny. It is teeny tiny. Everyone knows everybody.
Yeah. I've learned that. But kind of getting into navigating all of that, you do a lot, as we've learned. How would you say you navigate the demanding schedules of your work in the fashion industry and of your work as a motorsport photographer? Because both of those are very like intense schedules at certain times. So how do you navigate that?
The good thing is both of those schedules are coming out a year in advance. So I can always balance for the most part. And it's actually really lucky for Formula E, which is what I do right now, and London, Paris, and New York Fashion Week, like both weekends, unless I'm doing a couture Fashion Week. They relatively don't overlap, which I always get really lucky with it. And even if I did F1, it mostly doesn't start until March. It would hurt the September ones because a lot of races are in September, but it's not actually that bad. I think, as we've talked about, sometimes there are health problems that come with that much travel, and I don't recommend burning yourself into the ground doing it. But yeah, I think face masks help. Always love a good face mask when I travel.
Absolutely.
And planning in recovery days. When I know that I have what I've had this month, which has been in so many countries over the last couple of weeks, I book a massage. It comes out of it's a business expense because it is for my physical well-being and my health. And I get a massage, and I got 90 minutes deep tissue sports massage because it helps me recover. It is actually very, very useful.
I did not think of booking massages as like a business expense, but that is very, very clever. I mean, it's not clever. It's literally like, I mean, it is clever, but like, it's not like you're gaming the system or anything.
On an average Formula E weekend, I will walk the equivalent of a marathon.
Golly.
My feet hurt so bad.
Oh my God.
And so I genuinely will go, and that's why I do it, because my feet hurt, my back hurts, everything. And if I want to be in here long term, you have to pour into your physical well-being.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking of, what are kind of your long-term goals and hopes and dreams in this industry?
I think everyone in the photo world and the motorsport side wants to work in Formula One at least once. I would need someone to fact check me, and I have looked, and I have searched, and I have deep dived the internet. I don't think there is another or has ever been a Black woman who has shot Formula One on an agency side or on a team side as a photographer ever. I have not found one. There might have been one in Kailami, but I don't think there was, because that was back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
I haven't seen one recently.
Yeah,
I don't think there's
maybe
in the US races. I haven't seen anybody when I'm looking at like when they take like the podium pictures and sometimes people will post the photos of like the photographer taking the shot. Never seen one at Silverstone. Never seen one at Miami. I have never seen one in Vegas. And I look, especially because I've been to Vegas. I've never been to Miami, but every time I go, I look and I check. On the team side, I'm pretty positive about that. And I want to be that person, if not the first, the second or third, because ultimately I think it needs to happen, not just because of who I am, but just because like
in general,
I think on the representation side, you have this issue where people don't see anybody who looks like them. And I think it's something, I'm pretty sure you guys it's what you talk with Taylor about as well. It's like, it's really hard to keep going when you have this imposter syndrome and it's constantly eating at you. And I found that sometimes I had this a lot last year, was I've been passed over a billion times for people who are less qualified than me, who have worse pictures than me because of their identity. But then if I mention that it's my identity that's not getting me the job, because they don't see, it's not because they think it's an identity problem. They don't see it because there's an implicit bias there, and there's like a perception bias of, well, Jordan has a resting face. She doesn't seem approachable. So she's not someone that we're going to approach and who's going to bro out with us to be the team photographer for X, Y, and Z team. When in reality, I do my darndest to be the nicest person to everybody I meet. There might be times where I'm just like drained and I'm tired and I'm not as bubbly, but that's it. I try my very hardest not to be unapproachable to people. But you wouldn't know that if your perception bias and your implicit biases are getting in the way of even just talking to me in the first place. Or we don't think Jordan should do this job not because she's not qualified, but because we don't want to put her in a position where the client will be racist, or we think that she'll be not welcomed in the paddock because of her skin color or her identity. And I'm like, that is the most reductive thing I've ever heard in my life. I can fight my own battles, but you have to let me fight those battles.
Yeah. And like, just going back to, I guess, the feeling of, you're not able to have a bad day. Like you should be able to. Sorry that my face is my face. I can't change that. I mean, I can, but I'm not going to.
I have a very readable face. And so like, if I don't like something, I'm like,
me too.
For anybody who's on audio, I just really screwed up my face.
So do I. Jordan, you're making this episode so like easy for you. Keep answering questions that like we essentially have for you, but you really did kind of.
No, don't be. It's great.
I'm loving the conversation. Honestly, I really am, because it's something that I really resonate with, and I guess because you've already kind of answered one of the questions I was going to follow up with. So we know that in February you did a Black History Month timed motorsport series, which I was so happy to see. I think. You were the first person that I saw that did something like that to like the level that you did, because you went in like every day. Unless there was someone else and I completely missed them.
There was another person doing it. There was another girl who did one. I think it wasn't a driver series though.
Okay.
But it wasn't also, because mine was current drivers. Yeah. I will find it and I will send it to you.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
But
that was hard.
I can imagine. I wanted to do something like that, but I just did not have the energy. I was like, I did not have the energy.
Oh my God.
I think at the beginning, I gave myself the benchmark of finding current motorsport, not like finding single-seater or like NASCAR drivers. And then I quickly realized when I started listing everybody out, I won't hit 28.
Trust me, I know.
I won't.
God. Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, we're gonna go to karting, because I try my very hardest not to post children on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
But then with karting, you kind of end up having to, because they need the promotion.
That's, it's so funny. Misha and I actually just interviewed a 7-year-old karting driver.
Yeah.
And like, that was the conversation we had. We were like, do we want to go and do an interview with a child? Like, his dad was there, which was a stipulation of ours, obviously, because we're just not going to interview a child without a parent there. And like,
of course,
he was so sweet and so precious. But that is something, because we're like, well, these are young drivers who are up and coming and you want to promote them, but it's like, where do you toe the line where it's like, do I want to, because I have a weird feeling about like children on the internet, and I'm like, am I crossing boundaries that I've set for myself, interviewing him? But I'm like, but I also want to promote him at the same, it's hard. It's a really hard line to like, cross, really. But.
And especially like, I found it's hard because like, I will try my hardest not to post things on my photo account as well. But like, I can't control when Silverline brings his kid on the podium. She's adorable. It's like, she's so stunning too. But then if she's on the podium and I want to post the podium pictures, I just have to do it.
Yeah. I completely get that. But I guess we know we've already kind of touched on this, but can you tell us a little bit more about your journey as a Black woman working in the motorsport industry, and what advice you would give to the younger generation, or just anyone who's looking to get into this space?
It's lonely. I'm not going to lie about it. It is. And you can't have an off day. I know we just talked about that, but like everything, we can't have an off day. But I think there are always people in the motorsport world who want change to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put yourself out there. And it's something I've realized, because I have made monumental strides in the last 3 months just by, I'm not necessarily doing the things that the boys do, but by just showing up. Because just by the premise of me being the only Black woman in the Formula E paddock all season. Yeah, all season. Well, the only Black female photographer. Clear that up. There have been other Black women like in other parts, but the only Black female photographer. People recognize you, and you are a memorable face, which is also, I remember one time in Jetta, I was talking to someone who works at Formula E about something, and she was like, oh, why don't you just do it? No one will remember you. And I was like, no, but they will. And because for her, it wasn't something that she would think about. But then for me, it's something where I'm like, no, every single time I walk past a Marshall post, they remember my name. They know exactly who I am. And because I'm friendly, they always say hi and we're chill. Mm-hmm. But there's no way that they don't remember me. Mm-hmm. Like last weekend, I met Mark Webber. I introduced myself, shook his hand. He's lovely. But all weekend, hello, Jordan, how are you? Because I don't have the privilege of blending into a sea of other photographers, which means I have to be on it. I have to be good at my job to get half as far. And it's something my parents always told me, you have to do twice as much to get half as far. And I hate to perpetuate it, but it's the reality. And I think there's so many more opportunities out there than people realize, but you have to be in position to get there. So don't feel like you're ever too upfront with people. Just do it. Introduce yourself to as many people as possible. Networking is key. And that doesn't just mean, sliding into someone's Instagram DMs, but just have a conversation with them and ask them how they're doing. And that will pay dividends because people will remember who you are. They'll recommend you for things. And they'll also remember you because you're a good person. And above all, that's the thing you want to be remembered for, being a good person and a nice and approachable person.
No,
Yeah.
you hit the nail on the head on that one.
And be better than me at answering emails.
Please.
No.
I kind of
When
want
two
to
very
touch
lovely
on
people
that.
ask you.
Do you ever feel like a pressure though, Jordan?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
like
the
being
time.
the only like Black
Every
woman
day.
photographer in these spaces, because like there, and
Every
this is
day.
something that I kind of asked Tasia as well, because I'm like, at least for myself, when I was looking for creators in the motorsport space, you two were probably the first people I found, including Thandi from Quick Stop Pod as well. Like, if three
I
faces that I
can give
remember.
you pretty much everyone's names if I need to.
Yeah, like there's not a lot. And so
Mhm.
like you guys essentially in a way are kind of like pioneers of this new wave that we're in, and that's like a lot of pressure to face because you guys are what you do, even though you don't want it to, reflects off of what people view Black women to be, which is something that can really get to you. So yeah, I wonder like how do you navigate that pressure?
My support system.
Mm.
I have an incredible support system of people who remind me that it's not just on me and I don't have to be perfect all the time. And there's a lot of times I go home and I sit and I question, did I just massively mess up everything in my life? And it's hard as well because I try to balance the creator space with the photography thing. But as a photographer, there are certain rules that you have to abide by. Like I can't do video trackside when I'm on a photo pass because I don't have the right bib. And I know that. And while certain people skirt the rules because again, you have to be on your best behavior, I'm like, nope, 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 nope.
Yeah.
And I think I think the thing that I keep coming back to is that while I can try my hardest to be the best representation for everybody and do all of the things, at some points, I can't control everything. I can't control if a team ever hires me because I don't fit the mold. I can't control if the only kind of diversity that they want is reflected in white women. I
Mhm.
can't control if the only form of acceptable diversity that they'll take is mixed race or lighter skinned women when I'm a very darker skinned woman
Mm-hmm.
as a Black woman. And I have had that as well, where people are like, I'm too dark, especially in the UK as a creator. I
Oh.
am too dark to be mostly accepted as a motorsport creator. There are people who have done it, but it is very few and far between. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, you got it. We can have a whole
Yeah.
conversation about that.
How much time you got?
No, I'm really, really glad that you're talking about that because it's obviously that's not my experience. And I think, given the state of the world, I don't think it's a lot of things that other people really think about in terms of like the amount of privilege that they have. It's very different from what I've experienced. For me, like when somebody looks at me, they think, oh, that's a straight woman, neither of which are true. It's a very, very different kind of privilege / problem. On the one hand, like you have constantly being visible, which can be a double-edged sword in some weird way. This is also a double-edged sword in a very different way, and I think it's very worth having these conversations, and I'm so glad that you've spoken about that. Speaking of diversity and kind of perspective, you have this amazing video on your Instagram where you talk about how Formula One and motorsport in general isn't really built to be intersectional. And we've touched on this at the beginning of the interview. And you talk a lot about how representation in the space can feel quite circular. Another thing that we've touched on now, like, honestly, like, we say diversity is in the form of white women. It's like the same 5 white women. As somebody who's worked in motorsports and in fashion has its own very well documented issues with diversity, particularly around race, ethnicity, body image, and body size. But sometimes feels like fashion is like slightly further along than motorsport in some respect.
Yeah,
From
I would agree with that.
Yeah, right. From a diversity perspective, are there things that you've seen in the fashion industry that you would like to see in motorsports?
I would like to see more intersectionality when it comes to skin tone and also LGBTQ people, because ultimately, like, also I also pass, and but I am a bi woman. I'm pretty open about it, but people also just like my partner is a cis white man, so it's really
Straight
hard
passing
because,
is a thing. Like, it's,
we're in a heterosexual relationship.
Yeah.
Everybody who sees me is like, oh, she's straight, and I'm like,
no,
no.
no.
Actually,
Sorry. And then the hard thing is, like, I would love to see more people get recognized for that kind of thing. I think on the LGBTQ side, it actually is a bit better in F1.
okay.
I did this. I never actually posted it. I thought about it though. I was going to post this series looking at the diversity stats of each of the F1 teams, because they are all supposed to put out these new reports. They never did it though, but they always put them under the sustainability reports, and it angered me and it stressed me out because I was so annoyed about it. And it annoyed me to no end, because up until this year, even McLaren was the only team that posted theirs with a people of color breakdown in it. And all the teams will have like women, men, women, men, women, men, if they post one at all. And then they might have one on POC. They might have one line on LGBTQ people. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Why are we tracking this under a sustainability report? This is your personnel. And also, I know that McLaren is getting off with their numbers because they also were including their IndyCar team in that. Yes. And you definitely don't have that representation in your F1 team at the MTC. A lot of that is in the US, because you can't have the kind of diversity shock that you have in the UK, in the US. You would never get away with it.
Yep.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
And
I'm not.
Go off.
Oh, that was a sarcastic. Sorry.
Yeah.
For anyone who couldn't tell, that was sarcasm. And I think I've definitely gone off the point to what you were asking. But I think what I would want to see is more diversity representation, because if you think about who are the Black women that you see representing when you think of Formula One, you think Naomi Schiff. That is the only person you think of. I have met Naomi. She is like the loveliest human being on earth. There's no reason that someone of Naomi Schiff's caliber should have recognized me, because I think I made a video about her once, but also because there's not that many Black women in the motorsports race. That it was mind blowing. There's actually a picture of it, because it was in Vegas, and I just went up to her and I was just like, I was going up to her to introduce myself, and she's like, I know who you are. And there's a picture of that exact moment where she said that, and my face is just like, and I couldn't keep it together. There's no way I could keep it together. But that should never have happened. There's no reason that the only Black women that you're thinking of are me, Tasia, Naomi Schiff, and Candace, who does the single pantry. I can also name off Tandy, there's other people, or Stephanie Travers.
But it's the fact that you can name them off.
I can name
right off the top of your head. It's crazy.
And I've gotten through half the list in doing so. That's crazy. But it is the thing. And I want to see more representation, and I want to see the teams be held accountable to it, because the thing is, in fashion, you get held accountable to a degree, or you used to be held accountable. Yeah. If your Fashion Week shows were not diverse enough. Every single year, especially in Milan, it's happened a lot recently. There's outcry if any of the shows, especially there was one at Men's Fashion Week. I think it was Dolce & Gabbana, maybe. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But there was a fashion show for Men's Week where every single one of the male models was white. Everyone. And there was a line of 30 to 40 models, which is crazy. You have to work hard at Fashion Week to not have a little bit of melanin in there.
Like,
they
yep.
got grilled for it. And that's good because I'm like, there's no reason why your entire model lineup should be white. That's ridiculous to me. And I think in F1, in motorsport, if you look at those team pictures that all of the teams take at the end of the season in Abu Dhabi in front of the gantry, every
Mm-hmm.
single year when you look at the comms teams, I think last year there was Ella, who was Lewis's comms person. She's the
Yeah.
only one. She is no longer with that team. And so
Nope.
that was the only person. I think Sophie, actually, no, Sophie from Oscar's PR is also a person of color, I
Mm-hmm.
think. But, and
It's,
you've got
yeah.
11 F1 teams.
Yep.
If I have to
And if
zoom
you go
in to
through
see
all
if
of
there's
those
a little
pics,
bit of,
or like the
Yep.
team
like,
pictures that the teams post, like the big ones, and you're
girl,
like,
it's crazy.
huh?
Literally,
This,
you're like, are they a little bit colored? Is there a little bit?
Oh my god. You're like, is that a
there's
tan
like,
or
especially in
Literally.
Abu Dhabi, you're like, you've been in Qatar and Abu Dhabi and Vegas the last couple of weeks. I can't tell the difference. Like, that's a problem. But
Yeah.
it is a thing,
No.
and you have that. And I want the teams to be held accountable for that more because I think it would do a world of good if they actually had to be accountable for the lack of diversity that they have on their staff. And that's both to
Yeah.
people who go to trackside and people who don't,
Oh yeah.
because one is
Absolutely.
significantly worse than the other. Even Mercedes
yeah.
has gotten worse since Lewis left.
Isn't
And
that
you can see the
crazy?
difference.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that?
Mhm.
It's
And
so funny you mentioned
yes.
the sustainability reports because I literally had the exact same because I went through it myself too. And I'm like, and I remember when I was going through it, I said, something's not right here. And then you're so right about the McLaren one too, because I think they were the only one at one point who was actually updating theirs. But it's maybe
I think
Williams.
Mercedes hasn't come out.
I know Mercedes made
I,
that whole pledge about how they were going to like every. I read the pledge, but I'm not seeing it.
I'm like, are those people only staying in Brackley? Are they coming trackside at all? Where are they?
Yeah. Questions. But
I'm like, anybody hiring, let me know. I'll gladly show up.
I'm here. Hello. I have qualifications.
I'm here and I can do the job. But like, I think it's also an access problem because like you have all of these people who become friends with the drivers who are like their personal photographers, like Antoine Truchet, Gregoire's his brother who does Pierre Gasly's one. Up until last year, there's a couple other people who do it for their personal. Not every driver has its personal photographer, but they're doing it because they're friendly with them. And a lot of this goes, and like, that's a team thing, that's a driver thing, that's everything. It goes off of vibe more than anything else. And if you're not accessible to them at the F2 level, at the F3 level, at the F4 level, on the regional level, it's why I did Formula Winter Series. It's why I do F1 Academy and I show up. And it's why I do FE a lot and I just keep showing up. You will not have access to the drivers when they're the most accessible, and actually you can impress them and take and go forward with them.
No,
because if you don't, there's not that many chances to get in when they're already in that F1 space, because they're going off of recommendations. They're not going off of just, oh, like your portfolio is good. No, at F1 level, they don't care about that. Like everyone's portfolio is good that they're seeing. Like, do I vibe with you? Do
It's
I
not
know
working
you?
at that point.
It is networking.
It is. Yeah. 100% is networking. And like, I can understand like that notion of building like rapport with someone and like coming up with them. It's also just very hard for like other people who are, because it gets to a point where it's like, well, there's no space for anyone. It's just like how we talk about politics. It's like, are you all going to retire so a new generation can come in and like actually help the folk? Like, you know, it's like that in that sense. But hey, I'm not a world leader.
Yeah.
I can't.
No, that's literally it. And I think it's why this year I've spent a lot of time doing that work, is making sure people know me.
Yeah.
Even if I make no money, I am not rolling in it. I am not raking it in.
Yeah. that part.
Of course.
And actually, while we're on that, I want to talk about Jetta a little bit because we know that you went in, and please correct me if I'm wrong. You went in
I did.
2024 for
I did.
okay, perfect. So you went as a spectator in 2024, I
Yeah.
think, and then recently
Yeah.
we know that you went for Formula E for the E3 on the media
It was
side. Can you
great.
tell us? Oh, yay! I'm excited. Okay, yes. All right. Can you tell us a little bit more about working on the media side of a race versus being a spectator, and what takeaways you learned from each side, and like what you love about each side?
So Jetta is really special to me because Jetta was my first F1 race. I had never been before. And I planned that trip about a month before we went
Oh
because
my
I
god.
was looking at, because they had run this ticket sale and they were doing tickets for 30% off. And I said to my partner, I was like, I think I could float that. We both have big kid jobs. We're out of our master's programs. We're both employed. Why not? I think the tickets, both for a person, were 350 pounds total. And we had main grandstand B, which is the first corner, the first two corners really.
Ooh.
And then one day we sat out in like one of the other grandstands. Best seats in the house, in my opinion. If you're gonna do main grandstand B, not main grandstand A. Pro tip. And I also wanted to go because it was the first F1 Academy race that they were ever doing in public. They were never, and I was like, I want to support them. We're going to support the girls. We're doing this. And so Jeb is really special to me because it was honestly amazing. I loved it. And I'm not a really heavy drinker, so I didn't really mind not having booze for a whole week. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't care. This is not. And I also actually, I think it's partially just because of what I studied and doing international relations in school. Like, I love going to the Middle East. I go to Saudi a bunch. I go to Jordan, and I really loved each part of it. Going on the media side was very, very different because I was footing the whole bill myself.
Oh.
But the people are always just nice. And the marshals were lovely. They were like handing me water, and they were like, and I was like, no, it's fine. They're like, it's hot. It's literally so hot. Take some water. And they would, if I needed, or like they would offer me oranges so I would stay like sustained throughout the day. It was actually really lovely. And I think races like Jetta get a bad rap because people are weird about the Middle East. But simultaneously, it was a great time. I think there's a lot more pressure when you're going as a media side than a spectator.
Yeah.
But I really loved every single part of it because ultimately you have a bit more free roam and access. And you're able to, I think for me at least, I was able to explore parts of the track I didn't even see because I was a spectator the first time and I had to sit in my grandstand. But then I got to take these really cool shots because there's no one in the paddock club during an FE race because they don't do that. And so I got to take these really cool shots from one of the balconies of what is paddock club. And it was so cool. And I did a juxtaposition one where I did the day shot, and then I went back at night and I did the night shot of all the cars going around the corner. And it was so sick. I had the best time. I think it was actually one of the races that reminded me why I do photography, because I felt so excited. And I think my excitement really showed in the pictures, and I just wanted to do everything. I was just like, I want to just explore everything and just have a great time. And it reminded me that I'm actually doing this. And doesn't matter how tired I get or how sad I get, I'm doing this and I'm actually really enjoying it. And it's really fun. And I'm living my dream life, even if I'm not making the money I wish I was making.
But you will. You just sold me on Jetta 100%.
Oh my
Misha,
God.
we're going.
We have to go.
We're going.
If you go, let me know, and I've got all the recommendations for you.
I'm down. I gotta
Oh
get
my
to
God.
Saudi Arabia anyway, back to my birth country.
There you go.
But
Do
no,
it. And it's
Wow.
easy to
Like,
get it's easy
where
to
did
get
you find
around.
the thing with the tickets and the? I'm like, am I just missing something?
I just got it from the track. I
Dang.
Oh.
follow their Instagram, but this is like
Oh,
social
okay,
media
okay.
Yeah,
game. It's social
I'm
media
gonna do
game.
it right
I'll
now.
put you on. Basically, like I follow the circuit, and I was noticing I was like, you're paying a lot of influencers to promote this race, which
Mm.
means you haven't sold out of tickets. And so I waited. I
Mm.
was like, mm, we're gonna wait a little bit. And I think it was Founders Day or something, whatever. Like what I think I can't remember what they call it. Um, and they put the promotion out and it was like 23% off because it was the 23rd or something. And I said, send. They haven't sold
Okay.
That's
out.
such
They'll run a
a
discount.
good tip.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting all of the insider information.
Right.
That's what I'm here for.
Love it. Love it. Again, leads perfectly into the next question. Like this has been such a dream interview. What we wanted to ask you was, what is something that is happening kind of behind, and you've answered this question already so many times, but maybe there's like something in particular you want to talk about. What is something that happens behind the scenes during a race weekend that fans or spectators would never necessarily realize that photographers are dealing with?
Logistics. I think a lot of people like you see the logistics of like, okay, how am I getting like, oh, people are there doing the podium shots and like doing all the things. But like, I don't think people understand how much planning goes into where I'm going to be on a specific time at a race weekend. In Berlin, I knew that I really, really, really wanted to take the podium shots. I had brought my little Instago 360. I had everything because I wanted to do the videos I posted of like the champagne shots. And I knew I wanted to be there with enough time to get a good spot. And so I planned, but I also knew I had a deliverable for a client that weekend where I needed to be in the grandstands for the start of the race. And so I was on the grid and and before the race, I planned out where am I going to go to make sure that by the end of the race, I am back in Parc Ferme, which will allow me to walk across the track and to the podium before it happens. And I like planned it down to the lap count, basically. Yeah. So because there's 37-ish laps in FE. And so I said, okay, we're going to start in the grandstands. We're going to leave the grid and go immediately to the grandstands. Because I can go out on one side and just get right into it. And then I went grandstand 1, grandstand 2 by lap 35-ish, grandstand 3 by lap 31. So just account for like walking time and stuff. And then I had to walk the 10 minutes all the way back across the bridge because there's only one bridge in FE in Berlin to get back to the paddock side. I did a bunch of internal shots and then I made sure I was in the pit lane by lap 12.
Wow.
So then and I shot the rest of the race there, I kind of just watched a little bit. And then I think I went back out one additional time and then I was back by lap 5. And then Parc Ferme happens. You're getting the podium shots, celebrating on the cars, all the things, yada, yada, yada. And then once they get the trophies or once they're doing the interviews, I know the track is cold. So me and a bunch of the other photographers walk across, go straight to our spots. I knew exactly where I wanted to be. This was day 2. So I knew I wanted to get the lighting better because I struggled the first day with the 5:30 light. And so I wanted to be on the opposite side because that side, all of the light is like if I'm here, like the light is on this side of my face, not the opposite way around, and I'm shooting against you. And I said to myself, I'm going to stand right here. I don't care which security guard yells at me. I don't care what I have to say. I'm going to pull out the 5 words of German that I know and say, I'm staying here. And I'm so happy I did because I got the really adorable shot of Pascal Wehrlein picking up his daughter because Porsche had ended up on the other side, thankfully, but he picked her up going that way. And so it's like a full shot of like her face and she's just having the best time and she's having the laugh. And then I also ended up on the Jaguar side. And so when Mitch comes around and he's spraying the big bottle of Tattinger champagne, the problem was I got sprayed and I had to go
Yeah.
to the airport right after that. I was literally leaving the podium to the airport because my flight was in 2.5 hours. And so I
Oh,
smelled like champagne.
they said,
You're like, I
I was,
promise it's
what?
not me.
no, I actually apologized to the guy I was sitting next to on the plane. And I was like, I'm really, really sorry. I smell like champagne right now. And I just showed him the video and he was like, that makes sense.
See, the good thing with your position is you have photographic proof.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like when I tell you I think one of the Jaguar guys had some meta glasses on. So I've seen the video of it. I need to ask him to send it to me. And you can literally see me turning around after it's over, just spitting champagne out of my mouth because I was soaked from head to toe.
Oh
That's
my
why my hair
God.
is curly right now. My hair was straight during Berlin. And then I had to come home and like double wash my hair because I was like, I'm covered in champagne right now.
We have one more question for you.
Yeah.
It's our last question, and we always like to end with a question like this. So you have had countless experiences in the fashion world in terms of photography, in the motorsport world in terms of photography, and we wanted to ask, what is something that you think motorsports photographers can learn from fashion and lifestyle photographers, and vice versa?
Oh, that's hard. That's a really hard question. I like that question though. I think on the I think from motorsport to fashion side, so like what fashion photographers can learn is learning how to be, I don't know. I think learning how to apply speed more. Because sometimes I found that like with my fashion week stuff, I'll actually do a lot of motion blurs. And while some people do that with they'll do it for like trendy things, but they don't do it very regularly enough, or like being able to do like a panning shot. I've actually gotten quite good at those. Because in fashion, like sometimes people just don't move and they stand still.
Mm.
Like people want the crispy, clean shot. But then it's also really cool to get a panning shot of someone walking in a
Yeah.
dress, especially if it's like a really billowy, nice, cool girl gown. So I think learning how to do other styles in terms of like panning and things like that would be really cool. And being more flexible because oftentimes people in like the fashion world are like very rigid about we have to get this one thing, we have to do da 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 da. And like no one's gonna die. This is not medicine. This is not rocket science. No one's gonna die.
Oh my God.
On the inverse, I think portraits. I think most photographers can take a decent portrait, but I think they're always head props, or they're like head like 3/4 body, half body maybe. People aren't as good at taking a flattering portrait, like a full body portrait. And I think there's a lot of uh, what's the word I'm thinking of? There's a lot of overlap right now between the fashion world and the motorsports world and just sports in general. Like I'm seeing a lot of like uh, WSL, so like women's Super League players, come to like the British E-Prix. They came a lot last year. There were two German Olympians at the Berlin E-Prix with their medals. It was really cool. But and you're seeing this overlap between different sports, especially with women coming in a lot. And these people want a decent picture of themselves on the grid, or like the rise of content creators coming to these races. In Jetta, they had Evo sessions. And so there's all of these content creators coming. Kai was there, Bella was there, Olivia was there. Like it was a lot of people. They want a good picture of themselves. And sometimes I've been told, like, you are the only person who took a picture. Like I was told that by one of the Iron Dames. The Iron Dames posted one of the pictures from Berlin because I was one of the only people who took a portrait of her. And she was, because Porsche did this 75th year kind of show run at the Berlin E-Prix. And so Michelle Gotting is her name. I hope I'm saying that right. It's either Gotting or Gatting. And she did the show run. And I was like, I want to take a picture of you. Like, 'cause everyone was waiting for Mark Webber. He's really cool. We love him. But simultaneously, I was like, she's also standing right here. She's just having a great time. And so I asked her, took the portrait, and it was fine. And there was nothing difficult about that. It took 5 seconds to take a decently exposed and a decently framed portrait of her. But it was apparently like not crossing anybody's mind. I think if you focus, I think that's the thing. I've come full circle now. Stop just focusing on the drivers and their partners. Focus on the other people around, because they build the environment that you're seeing, and learn how to take better portraits of people.
Okay.
That's it.
Love it. Love it. Incredible
to get
advice.
there, but I got there eventually.
You got there and you landed really well, because that's great advice.
I think at some point I was like, wait, I'm remaking my point in my head.
You're like, hold on. This is a great answer, actually. Oh, Jordan, thank you so much for joining us today. I know I had so much fun. This is genuinely one of my favorite, I think, episodes that we recorded.
I agree.
Such a delight speaking with you, and I'm so happy we were able to make it work.
Thank you for putting up with me and my craziness. Honestly, you both have been so lovely about it, and I'm so
like we wanted you, so we were like, we'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah, no, literally, we're like, that's fine. Whenever you have the time.
But please let our audience know where they can find you.
So you can find all of my photography work on my website at jordantaylorphoto.com, or on my Instagram, which is the same, Jordan Taylor Photo. And for anything not photo related, you can find me at jordan.taylorc. That is on my TikTok and my Instagram handle. And I do all types of fun things. Like I went and interviewed some of the Formula One Academy drivers a couple weeks ago. And I'm going to a couple F1 races. So definitely stay tuned on that as well.
Ooh, that's exciting stuff. Yeah, follow her if you don't, because honestly, Jordan's content is great and we just love Jordan. Yes. And this was such a fun episode. Thank you again so much for joining us, Jordan. I'm so happy.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to both of you. It was honestly the best time, and I am very, very appreciative of you letting me come. It was the best. So thank you. And thank you for thinking of me for doing this.
Oh my God.
Of course.
Of course.
This has been Hold the Past podcast. I've been your host, Fatima.
And I've been your host, Misha.
And we've had such a wonderful time with Jordan today, and we hope that you did too. If you like this episode, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to share as well. You can find us on Instagram at Hold the Past Pod, TikTok at Hold the Past Pod, and anywhere else you listen to your podcast from. You can also contact us via email at holdthepastpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you all so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.